Um, oh, Hello, everyone. Tony. And this is the requirements update. I'm Matthew Tody, current PTL. The only audience member here is Tony, the previous PTL. This is going to be a quick talk. There's not much. Requirements is a fairly consistent project most times, so there's not much to update on, but here we go. So why use requirements? Requirements is around so that we can ensure that co-installability between different projects works and is consistent. We have upper constraints to have consistent testing within OpenStack, so everyone is testing the same versions of the same libraries. We ensure code quality by auditing stuff before it's entered into requirements, either the upper constraints or the global requirements. And stable branch maintenance, which is somewhat important. I'm not sure about that, but no one uses stable OpenStack. Everyone's on master, right? Running DevStack. So that's why the requirements team exists. We're sort of a, I don't want to call it a meta project, but we're a glue within OpenStack that kind of holds things together. What we did in Pike is not much. We didn't break OpenStack too much. There was a little bit of roughness at the beginning where we upgraded a couple of libraries that had caps that were very, very low and very, very ancient. So you get newer, I should have written those libraries down because it was kind of annoying to have to remove those, but so not much in Pike. Queens were working on actually a couple of different things. One of them is publishing the constraints for each stable branch and for master so that the different projects can use them and it's more easily referenced outside of OpenStack. We have bug numbers for both of the goals that we have today. We're also working on per project requirements, which used to be called divergent requirements, which also used to be called something else. It's had a few generations to its name. This will allow projects to more or less manage their own requirements versions. So the particular use case is Swift, where they want to be able to say that they support older versions of different libraries than the rest of OpenStack. And someone is saying hi. There. So they want to support older versions of libraries, and those primarily that's used in deployments. I see why you go offline. Let me fix that. Disconnect and gone and back. So yeah, being able to select lower versions of libraries is a useful thing, but it requires us to be able to test those lower versions as well. And we're kind of building the framework around that now. We're still in the process of doing that. The to-do items, more or less, are outlined in that bug, 1719009. And we don't want to break OpenStack, because that would be bad. There. Beyond Queens, it's probably going to be a continuation of the work in Queens of divergent requirements, because that's kind of a heavy thing to do. And beyond that, don't have any specific goals other than to not break OpenStack. I think there's a theme there. And cross-project work, we do, that is kind of our definition. We are, like I mentioned earlier, kind of a glue that binds OpenStack together and allows co-installability and it allows consistent testing and all of that. So we do a lot of cross-project work. We have cross-project gating, where we'll test updates to constraints via dependent commits and via cross-gating, which a lot of that work was done by Tony. Just thank you. Working with project config is not necessarily the most fun. How to give feedback. So you can either talk to me, talk to Tony. We are on IRC Freenode and the OpenStack requirements channel. We have bugs. We don't have many bugs right now. It's mainly used as tracking for various long-term goals. Make sure we don't forget to uncap stuff, things like that. And yeah, I think that should be just about it. How to contribute. We mainly need people to review. Looking for more cores would be nice. Right now there are primarily 3 active ones. More would be better, so we don't have to wait so long around the clock. But other than that, that's it. Q&A.
Thanks.
Yeah, Tony.
What's with all the waterfalls?
Well, that's our logo. That's our mascot. We follow the waterfall methodology, right? It has to come to us, and then it goes out to everyone else. So, there we go. There was the one question. So that's all I have. I don't think that goes any further. And that's it.
So you were talking about the lower requirements thing?
Sure, yeah.
You wanted this, like the lower compatible version every project, is that?
So that will be an opt-in process. So different projects will be able to opt in to manage their own requirements file.
Okay.
And the rule for that is that they can go lower than what we have in global requirements. They can't go higher than that, I don't believe. It might be theoretically possible, but we haven't really discussed that.
Yeah. I think per project can,
Yeah.
no, they can't. If they want to bump the minimum, they have to do it in the global requirements.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because it will impact other projects as well, or co-installability possibly. So, yeah, they can opt in, and they have to have gating around their lower constraints that are generated, and go from there.
Makes sense. What current issues do you have with the requirements of the system as it is? You say it seems to work well, but like, do you have main issues? Or
Main issues the things that bug me the most are the things that mainly caps on different projects or different libraries. Other than that, converting to Zool v3 was kind of rough. It's still somewhat of an in-progress thing. We're slowly moving stuff into the requirements project. But it's a fairly routine type of thing. We have bots that come in and generate the reviews, and we make sure everything's happy and hit the recheck button a dozen times.
because projects are not that stable.
Yeah, right now we have Cinder was being pretty rough, but I think that merged, or at least it passed and verified. So, yeah.
I understand some projects may be difficult to rely on,
Yeah,
but
that was the cross-project testing stuff. Like, we test Cinder as one of the projects we cross-test. Yeah. Any other questions? There's Dirk outside. All right.
that seems good. Thanks.
Sup?